It was so fun to see one of my favorite authors of all time, Madeline, who just talked a little bit about her series. And so, first of all, my name is Cecilia Mecca, and I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, and thank you, Catherine, for the shout out and for allowing me to be a part of this amazing group of top tier historical authors. And I'm going to actually start off with that and fangirl just a little bit because Catherine talked about some of her inspiration, and I'm a medieval, I never know if I should say medieval author, historical romance author, I guess both, but she talked about her inspirations, and I have to tell you, I have read and enjoyed Catherine Levesque's novels before I became an author, so to be here tonight is completely surreal. And hi Karen, so nice to have you here. So if you can imagine being a co-host with, hi Samantha, someone that you read on your Kindle and enjoyed, it's beyond surreal. So thank you so much for having me and saying such nice things, Catherine. As a medieval historical romance author who really does kind of stay on the English side of the border for the most part, and I'll talk a little bit about my series, there's not as many English historical romances and medieval English romances. And so, I think it's fantastic that Catherine actually talks about, kind of being on that English side because Madeline, like my friend Madeline and some other great authors that write Highland romances, even as an author trying to research it, there's so much great information out there about, Scottish historical and Highland. But when we get closer to the border, which is where my series is set, the Border series is actually my very first series. It was published, the first book was published in February of just this year. It's a little bit harder to find information about right along the border, the lowlands as they call it. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But first I want to jump in and just let you know, if you're joining me right now, there will be a live giveaway at 8:15, an exclusive giveaway just for you guys. I have a whole bunch of giveaways going on right now, and I'll mention those as well, but there's one just for you guys. So that you have a good chance at winning. There's 5 of you now, 6 of you now. Thanks for joining me here. So stick with me for 15 minutes, and in the meantime, I mentioned in the comments, put your Manspiration thinking cap on. If you're wondering what that is, and Lori, hi! I know you and you know me, so you already know Manspiration, but my friend of mine, Emma Prince, who's a Scottish historical author, she does Manspiration Monday. I kind of go back and forth between Manspiration Monday and Medieval Monday. I do a live video every Monday on my page. It's Cecilia Mecca on Facebook. And when it's Manspiration Monday, it's all about the men who inspire us. And of course, I have whole Pinterest boards about that. It's the most difficult part about being an author, right? Having to look on Pinterest for the likes of Chris Pine. It's really tough. Hi, Pat and Marianne. So nice to have you here today. Excuse me as I jump over to my laptop. What I'm going to do is just make sure I have this discussion up so I don't miss any comments at all. You're welcome to ask questions at any time, and happy to answer those. Again, thanks so much for being here, and there we go. I can see myself live. It's a little freaky. So in any case, as I said, I have been writing historical romances for really 20 years, but they've just been published this year. I started my manuscript, which is The Thiefs Countess. It is actually book 1 in the series, back in college. So it was just a few years ago. Actually, maybe a little over 20 years ago. But when I was supposed to be researching in the education world, and I was an English teacher for 15 years, I was actually doing some English medieval romance research, and I dug that out. I mean, I put it to the side. Madeline mentioned RWA, and I will be there. So if anyone is in Florida, I'll be at the Indy signing and excited to meet all of you in Orlando. Side note, I'm a DVC Disney member, so I'm a huge Disney fan. I can't wait to go to Orlando. So if you're there, definitely stop by and say hello. And again, I did this when I was in the classroom too. I am all over the place, so you'll have to forgive me. Hi, Catherine, and hi, Madeline. Thank you guys for having me here tonight. I really appreciate it. So I was talking about researching the Thiefs Countess 20 years ago, and it just kind of sat because, kids and full-time job, and I actually have a small business, an influencer marketing business, and so there's a lot going on. And my dream, which is really the number one thing I've always wanted to do, obviously besides being a mom, is becoming a historical romance or medieval romance author. And so finally in 2015 I picked that research back up. I literally dusted it off. It was in the basement in this big folder, pre-internet, all about knights and castles and the things I've always loved. romance and medieval, two of my favorite things in the world. And I said, that's it. This is the year. And 2015 was the year. Pat, I wish you could be there too. We're going to have to connect at some point though. Yeah, definitely busy. Always busy. But I love it that way. And so I dusted it off. And it became the Thiefs Countess after it was much improved. I didn't realize, I thought it was really good, but it turns out that first draft wasn't all that good. But I made it better, and I found some great people like Madeline and some other authors that kind of guided me down the path. And it's been about a year. Now I have the most phenomenal editor in the world, so that's really good too. And I put the first book, and I'll show you the first one. This is not actually the new release this month, but it's the very first one in the series. It's The Ward's Bride, so you can kind of get a look at the cover. And this is actually a novella. See, it's a little bit small, so it's a little bit less. It wasn't supposed to be in paperback, but the readers were asking for a paperback. So there it is. But it's the prequel. So it's set 30 years before The Thiefs Countess, which is book 1. And the border series is basically a historical romance series set along the English-Scottish border in the 13th century. And what I love to explore is that idea of divided loyalties, right? So along the border, you weren't technically supposed to marry and, intermingle with those right across the border, but they're right there. And so it happened. And so I have, at some points, a Scottish hero and an English heroine and vice versa. And so what happens when you fall in love with, someone you're not supposed to? And that's kind of what the border series explores. And The Lord's Captive, which is my new release this month, it's actually an English hero who captures a Scottish lass. I should probably not do any voices, huh? And it's a lot of fun. It's a captive story. And Lori, thank you so much for saying that. And Maria, I hope you pick one up. And if you do, definitely let me know what you think. So that's a little bit about the border series. But I'm actually going to rewind just a teeny bit because, again, I want to go back to Catherine. She's kind of the hostess with the mostest and is the queen of medieval. And I want to thank her. But she mentioned Virginia Henley. And so I have to tell you, I was pretty excited because she is one of my all-time favorite authors. And other people that inspired me, like Joanna Lindsay, and I think, let's see, Kathleen Woodwis was mentioned tonight. Some of those people that I just absolutely adore. Back in college, 20 years ago when I was writing, they were writing medievals, and medievals were everywhere. And, when I started publishing, when I started kind of going on this journey, I didn't see them as much. I go to the bookstore and there's a lot of historicals, but I don't see a lot of medievals. So it's been so amazing to find a community of authors that write in the time periods that I write in. And so, again, thank you, Catherine, for being kind of the really person right now who everyone looks to as, you are the queen of medievals. And I heard that said, and I absolutely agree. So I can't even thank you enough. You are an inspiration, truly. So it's really neat to be here with you tonight. So, like I said, I have lots of inspirations, but I'm going to go back and tell you a little bit about the border series and, of course, that giveaway that I mentioned. And I know I'm talking fast, but 15 minutes goes quick. So let's get at it. If there are any questions, pop them in. Pat says, I fell in love with someone I was not supposed to. Uh-oh! I love that time period, too. So I want to make sure I don't miss any of your questions. All right, so I'm going to catch up here. Marianne did ask, Platter or Panster? So that's a great question. I'm impressed that you know that. I am a little bit of both. I was a Panster for the Thiefs Countess because I didn't know any better. I thought as an English teacher, as a student of literature, I knew how to write. Well, it turns out, I might know how to write, but not necessarily how to write a really good, compelling medieval romance novel. And so I did a lot of reading about craft and structure, and I thought I was a Panster, but it turns out I'm not. And I actually love structure, and it's one of my favorite things to do now is to outline a novel. So I guess I'm a reformed Panster and a Platter, but I really only plot the major points, and I don't know every scene what's going to happen, but I do know kind of the big plot points. English hero falls in love with the sister of his enemy, and that's usually not a good thing. And that's, the Lord's Captive. So it is a great community, and that's one of the most amazing things about this world. I've been in the education world for 20 years. I'm in the social media marketing world with my business. And I'm going to tell you, to be honest, the author world is my number one favorite. That first RWA I went to 2 years ago, I met some people. I walked into a conference with 4,000 people and didn't know one of them. And some of the people I met then have been some of my best friends in this space. And so it really is an amazing community. But I already knew that as a reader because I've been reading romances for 25 years. And it's just so great on Facebook to be able to connect with other readers and get advice. You know, Madeline and I actually run a Facebook group called Historical Romance Readers. And it's great because every Friday we do a summer reads and we say, what are you reading? And I'm getting some great tips and advice from other people. So advice to someone who would like to write a romance novel. So obviously the first thing is to read lots and lots and lots and lots of them. But Pat, you probably already do that. And the next thing, what I did first was I jumped right into RWA. I joined online and I was a lurker. And I started reading all about, you know, what everybody else was doing. I went into forums, I asked questions, and then I literally just went to that conference. At that first RWA, I did not have a manuscript. I had that old dusty notes and maybe a few chapters, but I just started to learn and talk and network and really, as always, when you connect with other people, things just happen. I listen to some great podcasts, and I'm happy to send you more information on some of the things that I listen to. Because I'm so busy, I didn't always get a chance to do reading on social media. Marketing and books and craft books. But every day on the way to work, on the way back from work, I'm listening to podcasts. And, you know, I, as an educator, feel like you cannot learn enough. And so, you know, my personal goal every day is to wake up, go onto my Feedly, which is a great website, by the way. You can kind of pull articles towards you and just read and learn. And that's really the greatest way to start connecting with other people. Didn't really need writing courses. I didn't think I needed writing courses, but you know, I really did need some tweaking. There's a man by the name of Michael Haig, and I'm a huge fan of his now. I had never heard of him, but at RWA he started talking about the hero's journey and how, you know, when we read books, it's not about the plot, it's about the characters. And, you know, I was furiously thinking about what was going to happen in my book, and I wasn't necessarily thinking, you know, what is the character arc? And it turns out that's the most important thing. We care about the characters. So great questions. All right, I'm going to move on because, as I said, I know this goes pretty quick. I talked a little bit about the new release. The Lord's Captive came out 3 weeks ago. I'm thrilled that it hit #1 on Amazon in all of its categories. I can't tell you how surreal that is. You know, you just watch these things happen, and it's really amazing. So the most important thing to me, you know, with 1 novella and 2 books out, is that they've been well reviewed and the readers seem to like them. And so for me, that means I'm in good shape. You know, and I hold my breath every time I send a manuscript to the editor. She's an amazing editor and keeps me in check. And I'm like, oh, I hope this isn't the one where she says, not so much. But I just got another book back from her the other day, and she said, I love this one. This is great. I love your writing. And so, I'm on easy street for another few months. And by the way, this is something that only my border ambassadors know. That's my reader group, my private reader group. The next book, which is book 3 in the border series, because this one is kind of point 5, is... don't tell anybody yet. It's called The Chief's Maiden. And so the chief, you could probably guess, it's my first Scottish hero. So that was a lot of fun. It was actually a little nerve-wracking, though, because I'm more comfortable in England than I am in Scotland. But it was a lot of fun, and that's coming out in September. So, hi, Lori! I'm excited about that, too. And I'm excited to tell you guys about that, since not many people know that The Chief's Maiden is The Chief's Maiden. They just know we're working on the next book. So, real quick, my social media accounts and then the giveaway. So if you follow me on Facebook, I do a lot of giveaways because I am a blogger at heart. I've been blogging since 2007, and so I just love giveaways. Bloggers love giveaways. I love giveaways. So right now on my Facebook, I'm running an 8-author paperback giveaway. So the grand prize is 8 historical romance paperbacks. So that's on my Facebook, and I'll pop all the links in here. You can also go to CeciliaMecca.com. On the bottom of that page, there's a giveaways link, and there's always a giveaway running. Right now I have 2, so definitely check that out. I also have, if you go to the website, you'll see it says in the upper right corner, free goodies. So becoming a CM Insider, which is my newsletter, but I don't like to call it that because really I try to make it interactive. When you first jump in, we send you right to the website and with a this or that kind of a voting thing, and I want to get to know readers, and so everything is geared toward that. But it is the newsletter, so the CM Insider, the first one, you'll receive some free goodies, and that are border bonuses, I call them. And so for each book, I write 3 to 4 PDFs about the history of the book and things like that. And so those are only available to CM Insiders. And I also have a book called Historical Heartbeats, which is a historical romance excerpt book with 8 other authors. And it's extended excerpts, a little more than you'd get in Amazon. So it's a great little book that it's on InstaFreebie, and it's free if you sign up to be an insider. And what's neat about that is you can get some ideas about other books, because Catherine and Madeline and all of the authors here tonight and myself, we can only write so fast. So there's lots of great books out there. Maria, go to Amazon, woo! So definitely go to CeciliaMecca.com/insider, become an insider. You can get updates on the Border Series books and some free content as well. Let's see, the giveaway. Oh, before that, one quick thing. If you do follow me on Facebook, I'm headed out, I'm so excited, in 10 days on a British Isles cruise. So it's a Disney cruise, so my kids don't get totally bored, but it is a dream trip for me. It's England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. I am so excited. I'm planning to take a bazillion pictures of castles, getting lots of inspiration for stories, and I'm going to chronicle that on my Facebook page as well. So if you're into castles and medieval everything like me, then definitely check that out. All right, the giveaway. So since The Lord's Captive is a captive story, which I don't know about you, but I love a good captive story. My question for you in the comments to win an ebook of The Lord's Captive is, who would you most like to take you captive? Okay, married girls, I know, your husband, but this one's going to have to be celebrity only. Sorry, we're making it celebrity only. So if you were taken captive, who would you most want to be taken captive by? That is my giveaway question. Pop your answer into the comments. I promise if I missed any questions, I'll absolutely get back to those, answer them. And I do a live broadcast every Monday on my page as well. Again, thank you, hosts, for having me. It's 8:17 and I'm 2 minutes over. So Lori, hi, thank you so much for being here. And Maria, it's been great meeting some of new people and saying hello to some of my ambassadors and the people that have been so supportive of me and the reason really why the books are doing well. So go Johnny Depp. I agree with you on that one. Bye guys. Have a great night.